This video was made in collaboration with Narutopedia. For more information, check out the link in the description. Naruto Uzumaki's abilities from Naruto. Originally, Naruto was a rather inept ninja, failing to graduate from the academy 3 times. Through sheer determination and training, however, his skills rapidly improved to defeat strong genin like Neji Hyūga, Gaara, and Kabuto Yakushi, earning acknowledgement from all the Sannin for his potential. Under various tutelage, Naruto was able to defeat various members of Akatsuki, ultimately earning praise from Konohagakure as a Hokage-material hero. Naruto personally defeated various reincarnated Kage and Jinchūriki during the Fourth Shinobi World War. He could also compete against, if not defeat, world-threatening opponents such as Madara Uchiha, Kaguya and Toneri Ōtsutsuki. Many believe Naruto was the central key to winning the war. By adulthood, his prowess made him the 7th Hokage, regarded as the strongest shinobi in history and having command of overwhelming jutsu. With the combined might of Sasuke Uchiha, noted as the only shinobi to rival him, they are said to be able to destroy a continent. Together, they overpowered Momoshiki Ōtsutsuki and pushed Isshiki Ōtsutsuki's vessel to its limit, with the latter admitting that his vessel was too weak to defeat Naruto without his assistance. In fact, Amado believes that Naruto and Sasuke are the only ones capable of defeating Isshiki in his imperfect reincarnation, something that he himself also believes in. Once fighting at his absolute peak, Naruto was able to overcome Isshiki in a way that made him afraid for his life. Welcome to the Amagi. In today's video, we're going over Naruto Uzumaki's abilities. Before we begin, we publish a new video every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. Chakra and physical prowess. As an Uzumaki and a reincarnation of Asura Ōtsutsuki, Naruto has massive reserves of strong chakra, at least 4 times greater than Kakashi's, and described by Kirin as bright and worn. His initial poor control of it was offset by his sheer reserves, which were large enough to endure 3.5 days of constant battle against several powerful opponents. Only by the end of his battle against Sasuke did he show exhaustion, and even then he could still fight to a standstill and eventual victory. Naruto's control improved greatly over time, able to transfer his chakra to others and perform one-handed hand seals. Naruto's powerful life force grants him extreme longevity, healing power, stamina, and vitality. This allowed him to survive the extraction of a tailed beast, though he required aid from Sakura to stay alive. Naruto learned how to counter genjutsu from Jiraiya, but is limited. In adulthood, Naruto's chakra is powerful enough to intimidate Kawaki into submission and destroy high-level barriers simply by releasing a burst of it. He could repel Shikamaru's shadow imitation technique, a feat that no one else could do. His chakra, when he combined it with his son's vanishing Rasengan, turned into a gigantic ultra big ball Rasengan able to kill the empowered Momoshiki Ōtsutsuki who was trying to use a copy of the technique to defeat his. His chakra reserves were also so fast that he was able to overload Delta's chakra-absorbing eye with a continuous Rasengan assault. While naturally a short-range fighter, Naruto originally was inept at taijutsu, requiring unpredictable attacks to surprise combat experts like Kiba Inuzuka and Neji. He often utilized shadow clones in large, if not massive numbers to simply overwhelm his foes. Although these tactics resumed later, Naruto becomes much more adept at taijutsu due to Jiraiya's training. After Fukusaku's tutelage, he could fend off a pair of expert kenjutsu users. 2 years after the war, Naruto's taijutsu prowess could best dozens of opponents without shadow clones or enhancements. As Hokage, his taijutsu could pressure Momoshiki after he had absorbed Kinshiki. Naruto could even hold off Delta despite her extreme body modifications, ultimately controlling the pace of battle to tire her out and gradually overwhelm her to win despite being in the defensive. His speed had also increased to the point where he could effortlessly catch up with Kawaki after he tried to escape. Body modifications. After losing his right arm during his final battle with Sasuke, Tsunade cultured an artificial prosthesis for him using the cells of Hashirama Senju. Though he has yet to display any special abilities from the artificial arm's unique cellular composition like the wood release or self-sustaining without nourishment, he at least has the power to awaken them. The arm has however further augmented his stamina and healing capacities. Also, similar to Madara and Obito's own usage of this prosthesis, he can easily remove and replace it. After Momoshiki's defeat, Naruto took inspiration from his chakra absorption technique and had Katasuke Tono and the scientific ninja weapons team modify the arm further with mechanical features. With it, Naruto is able to neutralize and even absorb an opponent's techniques, though they have yet to replicate Momoshiki's ability to discharge them as a counterattack. Jinchūriki Transformations. Originally as the Jinchūriki of Kurama's Yang half, Naruto has access to massive reserves of exceptionally powerful chakra, which was at least 100-fold greater than Kakashi's. These chakra levels were increased even further with the yin half of Kurama when it was reunited with the yang half inside of Naruto. Due to his inheriting of his mother's unique chakra capacities and being Kurama's Jinchūriki for essentially his entire life, Naruto's chakra has properly mixed with the fox's, allowing him to perform several chakra-taxing techniques unhindered. Originally, he could only access Kurama's chakra in times of great anger. It enhanced Naruto's abilities, but the fox's negative influence made Naruto more aggressive. While essentially remaining himself while accessing a version 1 state, manifesting Four Tails would trigger version 2 state, which made him lose control and would gradually turn him into more feral forms, requiring outside assistance to suppress Kurama's power and regain control, prompting him to avoid relying on the fox whenever possible. By the end of the Fourth Great Shinobi War, he could access his version 1 form without any loss in his mentality. Realizing he could not avoid using Kurama's power, Naruto sought to control it with help from Killer Bee, a Jinchūriki who had fully mastered the power of Gyuki and unexpectedly Kushina. Upon succeeding and taking most of Kurama's chakra, Naruto attained Nine Tails Chakra mode, which greatly increased his physical parameters. Naruto can also detect negative emotions in this mode. As he didn't have Kurama's cooperation, Naruto needed to exercise extreme caution while using the form, as the chakra exchange could cost him his life. Eventually, when Kurama acknowledged Naruto's lifelong strength of character and Naruto learned the fox's true name, their newfound friendship granted Naruto access to its full power, which further increased his physical parameters and with no drawbacks. This cooperation of Kurama also provides Naruto with an immediate resistance from genjutsu. 2 years later, he could isolate the form with one hand to enhance his strength or to block attacks. Failing to transform into a replica of Kurama at first, Naruto instead achieved a tailed beast mode in the unique form of a life-sized transparent avatar of chakra. In it, he could create tailed beast balls and revitalize the life forces of any he touches physically or within the avatar, heal nearly any wounds, or grant them temporary chakra cloaks. After he became the Jinchūriki of Kurama's complete self, Naruto is able to manifest the demon fox outside himself for a period akin to summoning, allowing both to fight as separate entities. During the endgame of the Fourth Great War, Naruto received chakra from all the other tailed beasts, which greatly increased his chakra reserves even further and allowed him to access their unique abilities himself, or infuse them into his own techniques. With the infusion of all 9 of the tailed beasts' respective chakra inside of him, Naruto has become a medium to connect all the tailed beasts to communicate with each other and made him a human pillar for the power of Ten Tails. In the most dire of situations, Naruto is able to access a deep level of Kurama's power, Baryon mode. In this state, his facial features become even more akin to Kurama with 9 blazing chakra tails. In a process similar to nuclear fusion, Naruto and Kurama's chakras are consumed as raw materials to produce a new type of energy. When in use, it dramatically boosts Naruto's reflexes, raw might, and chakra to such extreme levels, able to surpass Isshiki's capabilities. Because all chakra is connected, the same power that is produced from bits of their lives also work to reduce the lifespan of opponents on contact. Due to its extreme energy consumption, Naruto must remain focused and not waste energy on extraneous thoughts and actions to maximize the amount of time he can maintain Baryon mode. Ninjutsu. In the academy, the sexy technique was the only technique that Naruto could perform successfully, which had no practical use other than to shock people. Later, he learned more advanced and useful ninjutsu from Jiraiya. This included summoning toads from Mount Myoboku to assist him, and to use them to crush enemies from above. He became skilled in shuriken jutsu, able to throw weapons quickly and with precision. Naruto's repertoire expanded to fuin jutsu, where he could store his weapons within scrolls. His fuin jutsu was further increased upon receiving Garatora near the start of the Fourth Shinobi World War. In the anime, Jiraiya taught Naruto cooperation ninjutsu, combining his techniques with others to create an even more powerful one. The collaboration techniques he performed with other individuals typically utilized his own elemental affinity, such as the Typhoon Water Vortex technique with Yamato, the Wind Release Toad Gun with Gamatotsu, and Scorch Release Halo Hurricane Jet Black Arrow Style 0 with Sasuke. He also learned from Asuma Sarutobi to flow into his weapons and increase their offensive might. Shadow Clone Technique. Naruto's first trademark technique was the Shadow Clone Technique. While originally failing constantly with a basic illusionary clone, after briefly studying the Scroll of Seals, he learned to create shadow clones on a mass scale. From then on, Naruto's skill with shadow clones blossomed to great heights. Having unusually high chakra reserves, Naruto could use this technique to create hundreds of shadow clones and retain large amounts of chakra in each one with relative ease. He could use them to outnumber or deceive his enemies, maneuver himself in midair, transform into weapons, scout areas, or test an opponent's abilities. During his elemental affinity training, learning that the original will gain all the knowledge and conditioning of a shadow clone right after it disappeared. From this, Naruto can use his mass scale of clones to drastically speed up his training to gain years worth of experience in just days. By the time he became Hokage, Naruto's usage of this technique on mass scale and prolonged periods allowed him to constantly perform multiple simultaneous tasks throughout the village daily, although he does have a tendency to overexert himself, leaving him exhausted afterwards. Rasengan. Naruto's second trademark technique is the Rasengan. Originally, due to his poor chakra control, Naruto had to use a shadow clone to form the spherical shape while he provided the chakra. Over time, Naruto developed larger versions of the Rasengan and performed it faster. During the Fourth Shinobi World War, he learned to use the Rasengan and its variants unaided with a single hand, or even form one in both hands simultaneously. He also increased the size of his standard Rasengan. Naruto has also shown the ability to release the Rasengan as an energy wave or as a projectile in the anime. Using Senjutsu or Kurama's chakra, Naruto can create more powerful and elaborate versions of the Rasengan. Using the latter, he even developed the super mini-tailed beast ball, performing it in a similar manner to the Rasengan. In the anime, usage of his tailed beast chakra also allows him to instantly perform massive Rasengan without the aid of his hands and launch in quick succession, similar to a tailed beast ball. Nature transformation. Naruto's natural affinity is wind release. Using shadow clones, one to form the Rasengan while another infuses the wind chakra, Naruto could complete the difficult task of producing a Rasengan that is the pinnacle of shape and nature transformation, something no one before him could accomplish, including Kakashi and his father. Once adjusting to using the wind release Rasengan, he could expand upon it to produce the wind release Rasen Shuriken. He also created different sized variations and could use even 2 Rasen Shurikens simultaneously. 2 years after its creation, he became skilled enough to form a Rasen Shuriken without any shadow clones and throw it in his base form, a feat which he could previously only do while using his enhanced modes. After gaining the 6 Paths Senjutsu, Naruto can utilize all basic 5 nature transformations as well as yin-yang release. He can make perfect use of the latter to revitalize life forces, heal whomever he touches, and restore missing organs. After gaining chakra from the respective tailed beasts, Naruto can also use Shukaku's magnet release, Son Goku's lava release, and Kokuo's boil release, able to infuse any of the other elements into its normal techniques as seamlessly as with wind chakra. Senjutsu. Naruto trained in Senjutsu at Mount Myoboku, which was only possible due to his high chakra reserves. Unlike Jiraiya, he was able to perfectly balance natural energy with his chakra, and enter a complete Sage mode, symbolized by the orange pigmentation around his eyes, and no other alterations to his appearance. Using Sage mode made Naruto's techniques stronger, enhanced his physical parameters, helped him utilize the Frog Kata Taijutsu style, and sense chakra in advanced enough ways to identify different signatures from vast distances. Since Fukusaku was unable to fuse with Naruto and gather natural energy for him due to Kurama's interference, Naruto had to employ shadow clones instead to maintain the technique, taking advantage of the clone's own buildup of natural energy being transferred to the original and let him use Sage mode a number of times. However, creating more than 5 shadow clones overall would disrupt the focus of the clones gathering natural energy. The need for this method diminishes over time as Naruto becomes capable of entering Sage mode much faster. However, after finding unity with Kurama, Naruto overcame this problem and learned to combine Sage mode with Kurama's chakra to further enhance his abilities, such that he could resist Nagato's control and shatter truth-seeking balls. 6 Paths Senjutsu. Naruto also gained access to the 6 Paths Senjutsu, which allowed him to fly and also manifest up to 9 truth-seeking balls, composed of all 5 basic natures, yin-yang release, and imbue them with the 6 Paths Sage chakra. He could mold the balls into a myriad of shapes, fire them as projectiles, and still control them from distance, or convert them into tailed beast balls and use them to create tailed beast ball Rasen Shuriken. While his shadow clones are unable to produce truth-seeking balls of their own, Naruto is able to transfer control of his own to any of his shadow clones. 6 Paths Sage mode. With the power given to him by Hagoromo, Naruto gained access to the 6 Paths Sage mode. In this mode, his pupils take on a cross-like shape, without manifesting the orange pigmentation around his eyes present in Sage mode. Going further, Naruto donned a new Nine-Tails Chakra mode cloak, which he could access instantly and maintain much longer than his standard Sage mode. Naruto's physical attributes and techniques are further augmented to the point where he could dodge attacks that moved at the speed of light and deflect truth-seeking balls. It also empowers his sensory abilities to the highest possible level, which allowed him to sense the invisible shadows of Limbo. Naruto also retained use of his tailed beast mode avatar of Kurama, which rivaled Sasuke's Rinnegan-empowered complete body Susanoo in size and might. Using shadow clones, he could create and combine 3 Kurama avatars into a single construct with 3 faces and 6 arms, similar to Asura's. This state allowed Naruto to infuse 2 massive Rasen Shuriken with natural energy. Intelligence. While headstrong and often acting without thinking, Naruto's years as a prankster had given him a cunning imagination that was useful in split-second decision-making, which has repeatedly proved invaluable in battle. He is a remarkable tactile learner, able to learn better through executing a task rather than understanding the theory of it. Once seen in action, even the likes of the second Hokage revised their thoughts about Naruto's intellect and instinct in battle. After meeting Hagoromo, Naruto gained the innate ability to grasp the nature of chakra and comprehend all universal things, allowing him to quickly master the new powers he received. By adulthood, he had become a capable teacher, instructing students at Konoha's Ninja Academy. During his fight with Delta, Naruto showed his ability to think ahead by hiding his power and faking defeat in order to make Delta drop her guard and reveal her plans, although Delta was perceptive enough to see through his attempts. Naruto ultimately was able to find out the weakness of Delta's shinobi-ware absorbing eye and overtax it after seeing it in action repeatedly. Naruto's most famous mental skill is to deceive his opponents, as he made effective use of even the most simple techniques to trick the deadliest of opponents. He could formulate multi-step plans or backup plans in the thick of battle and act quickly even when given new information. He can also seemingly make himself predictable by creating a pattern, only to throw off his opponent by breaking it. He has even thrown in what others would call completely useless techniques at powerful opponents to create an opening for a counterattack. Naruto is rather observant, able to notice details others may overlook, and subsequently take advantage of them to overcome his opponents. As an adult, Naruto proved to be a capable teacher in ninjutsu, quickly teaching the basics to Kawaki. Personality. Naruto is noted as boisterous, exuberant, and unorthodox, quite similar to Hashirama Senju. He inherited his mother's verbal tic, as he ends his sentences with datebayo when emotional. Though he responds best to competition and is not afraid to ask for assistance, Naruto is relatively naive and slow when it comes to understanding principles or situations. He often requires an oversimplified analogy in order to grasp explanations and can even prove forgetful. Naruto is aware of his faults and admits he acts strong to mask his embarrassment and frustration about them. Despite his naivete, Naruto can be quite observant, picking up on things others miss and retaining information casually gathered through conversation. Growing up as an orphan who suffered years of hatred and social isolation has influenced Naruto's character in a number of ways. He is heedless to formality and social standings, addressing certain people with nicknames instead of honorifics, although by the time of his adulthood, Naruto has slightly outgrown the trait. He has picky eating habits of ramen, his favorite food. He has a perverted side that manifests as uses of the sexy technique or attempts to peep into women's baths. Despite his quirks and the criticisms they earn him, Naruto is said to have a personality that draws people to him, inspiring friendship and loyalty through acts of genuine kindness that could change a person's worldview and thus build meaningful relationships that he lacked in early life. The Sage of Six Paths believes Naruto's kindness is a special gift that allows him to save Kurama from its hatred. Naruto deeply cherishes these bonds and will go to great lengths to protect them, best seen with Sasuke after his defection from Konoha. Naruto's time at the Falls of Truth revealed that a part of him hated the villagers for ostracizing him, only to admire him after he had saved them during Pain's assault. Upon confronting it, he learned to be at peace with it, willingly becoming greater than what he suffered. Another of Naruto's prominent traits is his desire for acknowledgement. His pranks around the village were for people to notice him, even if it meant by scolding him. Therefore, he dreamed of one day becoming Konoha's Hokage, the epitome of acknowledgement and respect from everyone in the village. Knowing his dream is a long, arduous, and seemingly impossible path, Naruto developed his own nindo of never going back on his word. This lifelong philosophy serves as the cornerstone of Naruto's great self-confidence. He believes he can accomplish any goal with enough hard work and perseverance, no matter what. This trait guides him in many aspects of life, such as his promise to bring Sasuke back to Konoha. Over time, his goal to become Hokage grew from a desire for the acknowledgement of others to a desire to help and protect the people close to him, which Toby attributed to the Will of Fire. His nindo has since been reinforced by his understanding that shinobi were meant to endure through hardships. His belief in hard work and perseverance made him detest shortcuts to achieving, as he disqualified his son from the Chunin exam for using the banned kote, and expressed disgust at Momoshiki and Isshiki Ōtsutsuki for their reliance on harvesting from chakra fruits to lazily gain power. After the death of his master Jiraiya, talking to his father Minato and listening to Nagato's tragic story, Naruto grew to understand the destructive cycle of hatred, and he vowed to break it in order to bring true peace to the world. To that end, his participation in the Fourth Shinobi World War is not only to protect his friends, but also to bear and erase the world's hatred all by himself. After encountering a reincarnated Itachi Uchiha, however, Naruto realizes that he cannot handle everything alone, and that he must allow his friends to support and fight alongside him. As he does so in the war's climax, his fighting spirit inspires the allied shinobi forces to join him and keep fighting to end the war as well, ultimately becoming an example for many people to admire, follow, and believe in. Naruto first met Hinata Hyūga when they were children, where his open kindness and courageous spirit earned him her admiration, which grew into love. On his part, Naruto remained mostly oblivious to Hinata's feelings for him and even considered her weird because of her shyness around him. However, that changed during the Chunin exams in Part 1 when they began to interact more and support each other, causing Naruto to like her as a friend. In Part 2, as Hinata becomes willing to risk her life to protect Naruto, he, in turn, sees her as an actively strong person despite his speechlessness at her love confession. Naruto did grow to love Hinata subconsciously. However, he was unaware of it because he kept fighting for Sakura, which was just another way for him to compete with Sasuke. During the last Naruto the movie, Naruto finally recognized the love that Hinata had always had for him, causing him to become more bashful and protective of her, just as she was for him. Realizing that she alone has ever had faith in him, and that she has always been there for him, he reciprocates her feelings and desires to be with her for the rest of his life. This newfound desire made him willing to make healthier lifestyle choices, such as eating vegetables and reeling in his impulsiveness, something that others have had little success with doing. As an adult, Naruto becomes wiser and more mature, although he retains some of his negligence for honorifics. Although he finally achieves his dream of becoming Hokage, its many tasks would often overwhelm Naruto to the point of him being unable to spend time with his family. He admits that part of this stems from not having grown up with a father himself, making him unsure of how to interact appropriately with his children. Naruto also tends to be more responsible in his duties as Hokage and as a father. Nevertheless, Naruto profoundly loves his family, as he creates shadow clones to tend to them while he's busy, protects them in times of danger, spends time with them when he can, and expresses pride in his children's successes. He adopts Hiruzen's philosophy that everyone in the village is his family, believing that genuine relationships are made up of love rather than blood relations. His refusal to give his son any special treatment due to their blood relationships, along with the insistence that the boy professionally addresses him as Seventh or Hokage while in office, is a testament of Naruto's lack of bias and prejudice. However, after facing Momoshiki Ōtsutsuki and realizing how his overly committed nature serving the entire village was significantly affecting his own family's happiness, Naruto came to accept that he needed to give them more attention. As such, by allowing more help from others, Naruto was able to enjoy more time with his family, restoring the same healthy relationship he had had with them before he became Hokage. Did you enjoy our video? Be sure to check out these other great videos from the Amagi, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.